The motel's neon sign flickered like a dying heartbeat, buzzing faintly over the cracked asphalt where I stood, clutching my backpack, staring down two women who looked like they'd walked straight out of a reality TV meltdown. HOA Karen, the ringleader, was a mountain of entitlement wrapped in a garish floral dress, her sister Mai hovering behind her like a nervous shadow, nodding at every venomous word HOA spat. "You think you can just waltz in here and get a room for free?" Hoa's voice was a grating mix of superiority and scorn, her chins wobbling as she jabbed a manicured finger at me. "This is our motel now, kid. Pay up, or I'm calling the cops." Her eyes gleamed with the kind of glee only a bully feels when they think they've won. Mai, skinnier but no less vicious, smirked and crossed her arms, her cheap bracelets jangling. I was a 24-year-old college student, bone-tired from a 12-hour bus ride, and all I wanted was the room I'd booked online. Instead, I was facing the Karen sisters, who'd somehow conned their way into running this dump and were now trying to shake me down for extra cash. It started when I arrived at the Sunny Pines Motel, a faded relic off Highway 17 that promised budget comfort, but delivered peeling paint and a vague smell of mildew. I'd prepaid for a single night $60, a stretch on my student budget, but when I showed up, HOA was at the front desk, her bulk barely fitting behind the counter. She didn't even glance at my reservation email before demanding my door code, claiming it was policy to verify guests. I hesitated, sensing a scam, but exhaustion won out. I gave her the code, thinking it was just a formality. Big mistake. Within an hour, HOA and Mai were banging on my door, accusing me of trespassing because I hadn't paid their security fee, a $50 surcharge they'd invented on the spot. "You think you're slick, huh?" HOA sneered, her voice loud enough to rattle the thin walls. "We run this place now. No fee, no stay. And don't try sneaking back and we got your code." Mai chimed in, her tone dripping with fake sympathy. "Just pay, sweetie. It's easier that way." I was stunned. These women weren't just greedy. They were delusional, treating the motel like their personal fiefdom. I refused, showing them my receipt, but HOA just laughed, her triple chins quivering. "That's fake. You're lucky we don't throw you out right now." The argument spilled into the parking lot, where a small crowd gathered: two motel staff, a trucker, and a weary family of three watching from their car. Hoa's voice grew louder, her accusations wilder. "This kid's a thief. Probably stole that backpack, too," she bellowed, pointing at my worn-out bag like it was evidence of a crime spree. I felt my face burn, not just from anger, but from the humiliation of being slandered in front of strangers. I'm no pushover, but I'm not a fighter either, just a guy trying to get through finals week. I tried reasoning, explaining I'd already paid, but HOA wasn't having it. She pulled out her phone, pretending to dial the police, her eyes glinting with triumph. "You're done, kid," she said. I nodded, adding, "Should have paid the fee." That's when I noticed the motel manager, a frazzled guy named Carl, hovering nearby. He looked like he'd aged a decade since I checked in. "They're not even supposed to be here," he whispered to me, his voice shaky. "They bullied their way into managing this place last week. I'm trying to get the owner on the phone." It turned out HOA and Mai had shown up claiming to be consultants hired to fix the motel. They'd intimidated the staff, changed the locks, and started extorting guests for extra fees, all while the real owner was out of town. Carl's words lit a spark in me. I wasn't just fighting for my $60 anymore. This was about stopping these two from scamming anyone else. I stood my ground, heart pounding. "You're not getting a dime," I said, loud enough for the growing crowd to hear. "I paid for my room, and I'm staying." Hoa's face twisted into a snarl, but before she could fire back, a siren wailed in the distance. Her smug grin faltered. Mai's eyes darted nervously to the road. The police were coming not because of Hoa's fake call, but because Carl had finally reached the owner, who'd alerted the authorities. Two officers pulled up, their cruiser's lights casting red and blue shadows across the lot. The crowd parted as they approached, one officer, a no-nonsense woman with a clipboard zeroing in on HOA. "Ma'am, we've got a report of fraud and extortion. Care to explain?" Hoa's bravado melted like cheap ice cream. She stammered, clutching her purse, while I tried to slip away, only to be stopped by the second officer. "We're just protecting the motel," HOA insisted, her voice shrill. "This kid's the problem." But Carl stepped forward, spilling everything. The fake consulting gig, the lock changes, the illegal fees. My receipt, still on my phone, sealed the deal. The officers didn't waste time. They cuffed HOA and I right there in the parking lot, the crowd murmuring in satisfaction. Hoa's face was a mask of shock, her usual swagger gone as she was led to the cruiser, muttering about lawsuits and injustice. My, for once silent, just shuffled behind her. The trucker in the crowd clapped slowly, a grin spreading across his face. "Karma's a mean one," he said, and I couldn't help but nod. As the police drove off, Carl apologized profusely, offering me a free night. I accepted, too exhausted to argue, but my mind was racing. HOA and I weren't just greedy, they were predators, preying on people too tired or scared to fight back. I thought about the family in the car, the trucker, the staff. They'd all been caught in the Karen sisters' web. But tonight, they'd lost. The motel felt quieter as I returned to my room, the neon sign still buzzing, but somehow less oppressive. The next morning, I learned from Carl that HOA and I were facing charges for fraud and extortion. The owner was back, promising to overhaul the motel's management. I packed my bag, ready to head to my exam, feeling a strange mix of relief and pride. I'd stood up to the Karens, not just for me, but for everyone they'd tried to bully. It wasn't about the money, Anna Maria, it was about showing that entitlement doesn't always win. As I left the motel, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the cracked pavement. I thought about Hoa's smug face as she was cuffed, Mai's nervous jangling bracelets, and the crowd's quiet cheers. Sometimes, the universe hands out justice in the most satisfying way. I smiled, slung my backpack over my shoulder, and walked toward the bus stop, ready to face the day. The end.